Hey guys, welcome back to Slightly Unusual Magic TV. My name's Craig. It's Thursday, it's 9 o'clock, which means it's time for a Magic Live. And today I'm going to be talking to you about creativity. I get lots and lots of comments on the channel. I get lots of PMs wanting to talk to me about creativity. Hey, I've created my own trick. What do you think of this? Oh, hey, I've created my own trick. That sort of thing. Or how do I create my own trick? And variations on that. And how do I be more creative with my magic? Now, just to let you guys know, I consider myself to be fairly creative. I'm not the most creative guy in the world. I've probably released about 20 or 30 DVDs at this point, though. Whenever I perform a routine, I try to make sure that I change it to fit my personality. And for me, that's creativity right there. What you don't want to do is you don't want to just buy a trick and just do it the way that the instructions tell you to do, or the way that the guy does it on the demo, because what works for that guy might not work for you. And I've seen that over and over again, where I see 16-year-old kids and they buy a routine from somebody like Max Maven, who's doing this deep psychological illusionist type presentation, and they try to pull the same thing off and it doesn't work. And I think it's really important to be creative in every aspect of your magic, not just creative when it comes to creating more tricks, but creative in terms of your presentations, creative in terms of yourself as a character. So today, what I'm going to try and do is to talk you through the process of what I do when I'm creating a trick. And I'm going to talk to you specifically about something that I've been creating recently. I'll show you what I've been doing with it, and I'll tell you the process that I went down in order to get to that point. Before we do that, though, the one thing that I want to tell you, or the one thing I want to explain to you, and again, this is just my opinion, but in my opinion, when you're creating a magic trick, okay, there's two ways that you can go with this. The first way is you can come up with an entirely new plot that's never been done before. Now, that's a very difficult thing to do. I'm not saying there's nothing new in magic, because there's not. There's new stuff coming out all the time. But to create an entirely new plot, it's a very difficult thing to do. It's not an easy thing to do. The second way of creating is to take an existing plot and to create your own version of it. So I remember seeing at Blackpool this year, the creator of that thing that came out through Illusionist, where they make the phone disappear. You know, it's absolutely amazing. It's a perfect example. I mean, people have been vanishing mobile phones for years, but what this guy did is he framed that moment of when the phone disappeared and made it just so much more magical, which I think is really, really important. So when you're thinking about creativity, the way that I tend to approach most of the stuff that I create is taking an existing plot and working out how I can change that in order to fit what I'm trying to achieve. And there's a very specific process that I go through in order to do that. So let's get into this and let's see if I can explain that process to you. Okay, so I think the first thing that you have to think about when you're creating a magic trick is you have to think about inspiration. You need to find inspiration, else you'll just be sitting there for hours. A lot of the time, I don't think about creating a magic trick. I wait for inspiration to hit me, and then once that inspiration has hit me, I kind of go down that rabbit warren I'm like a dog with a bone trying to get to my end goal, whatever that end goal would be. But first of all, we have to look for inspiration. And inspiration can hit us in several different ways. So inspiration might be looking at somebody else's routine and saying, oh, I really like the idea of that. How can I adapt it in a way that fits me? Or how can I take that concept and adapt it so that it fits me? And a perfect example of that is when I first saw Tom Stone on Penn and Teller Fool Us do quantum logic, which if you haven't seen, you want to go and check that out. Just go on YouTube and type in quantum logic, Tom Stone. He did it on Penn and Teller Fool Us. And I love the whole concept of, whose box is this? What's in this box? Hang on a second. This was your box. This was my box. And that's actually a prop that I actually own and do in my cabaret show. But when I first saw it, I was like, right, okay, how can I adapt that for close-up? Could I do something along the lines of that with 2 packs of cards and have maybe coins in one card box and have cards in another card box and have the same sort of concept presentationally, but bring it more in line with what I'm doing in close-up? So that's an example of inspiration. Another example of inspiration is if you see a prop for example, that you like, that you've seen this particular prop and you're like, oh my gosh, that's a great prop. How can I use that in my act? How can I adapt that to fit me? Rather than just taking that prop and using it exactly how the instructions say, you kind of go, well, okay, that prop's amazing. How can I use that to fit my personality? And a lot of the time, as I said before, people will just use the same thing and do the same thing every single time. But I think it's better if we mix it up. The other thing that you can use to inspire creativity and inspiration is looking for something that's not necessarily made for magic, and then working out how you can use that in the context of creating a trick. Now, for me, and that's what we're going to be talking about in this video, I was online about 5 months ago. I was online and I had an advert pop up on Facebook for the Westminster collection. And they had these Harry Potter coins for sale. Now, I'm a massive fan of Harry Potter, and I always have been. And I was like, oh my gosh, those coins look perfect, because I could apply coin sleights and I could apply, concepts that I already use with coins, and I could bring the Harry Potter presentation into it, and that'd be really good. And I've got these coins here, and these are them. On the one side, you've got the Harry Potter logo. Hopefully you can see that there. So on the one side, you've got the Harry Potter logo, and on the other side, they're really nicely printed. You've got different characters. So you've got like Dobby, you've got like Harry, you've got Hermione. There's tons of these. There's Dumbledore, there's Ron. There's one here that's the Hogwarts crest. And then they had other ones that were just like normal coins, as you can see. Harry Potter logo on one side, but just like like Hogwarts crest on the other side, but not specially printed. And I saw these and I was like, oh my gosh, I bet you could do so much coin magic with those. So I ordered myself a set of it from the internet. And I was like, okay, I wonder what I could do with these. And that is an example of inspiration hitting me. I saw these coins and immediately I was just like, right, okay, I love Harry Potter. I love watching the films. I'm very knowledgeable about the films. I also love coin magic. These are basically Harry Potter coins. Let's order them and see what I can do with them. And so that's an example of seeing something that's not necessarily made for magic and drawing inspiration from it. Also in there, the other thing that you can use to draw inspiration from in order to be more creative is something that you love. So in this example, Harry Potter. So I'm a big fan of Harry Potter. So I wanted to create a routine all about Harry Potter, and that's something that I've done many, many times through my career. There's a routine that I do that's all based around Doctor Who. I'm a huge fan of Doctor Who, and I've got this routine that I do with business cards, and it's all based on the concept of psychic paper, which is something that they use in Doctor Who. It's psychic paper, and it shows what people want them to see. And any fans of Doctor Who will know about psychic paper. And it allowed me to kind of say, okay, how can I take this concept of psychic paper and create a routine around it? So I think it's about constantly looking for ideas and constantly looking for inspiration and then working on that inspiration. Now let's talk about these coins, because that's what the whole video is about. So I got these coins, these Harry Potter coins, and then I was like, right, okay, what tricks can I create with these? And that brings us to the next part of creating. So the first part is finding inspiration, but the second part is having a large knowledge base of magic. And what I mean by that is, if you're going to create a magic trick, we stand on the shoulders of giants. So the best way to create a magic trick is to know lots of moves and lots of sleights and lots of principles, because that will help us. In this example, I had all of these coins and I was like, right, okay, let's create a routine with these. What can I do? And because I know a lot of moves with coins, and because I know a lot of principles behind coin magic, I was able to sit there and go, okay, so I can palm these, I can vanish these. In what direction can I go? If you're new to magic and you only know how to do a cross-cut force, you could draw inspiration from something else. You could draw inspiration from anywhere, but if you haven't got the knowledge base in order to do anything with that, then you're not really going to get very far, which is why it's important to be well read, and it's important to educate yourself in magic. It's really important to know all these different moves. I know lots of moves that I've never used. I learned them in the hope that one day I can apply them to a trick. So when I got these coins, the first thing I thought of is, well, I could use it to do a vanish. But what's the point in doing a vanish with this coin? There's no point at all, because it's not like I'm using the inherent qualities of these coins to do anything different. There's no difference between vanishing a silver dollar and vanishing a Harry Potter coin. So then I kind of thought, well, okay, well, maybe I can do a coins across, but it's the same problem. Well, what's the difference between doing a coins across with a Harry Potter coin and doing coins across with Morgan dollars or half dollars? There's no difference at all. So then I was like, okay, so what are the qualities of these coins? Well, the qualities are you've got different characters on them. Okay, so maybe we can now do mind reading. Maybe I could have, and I went down the route of thinking, well, how about I give somebody a coin, I don't show them the other side, and I get them to hold it, and I force the character on the other side of the coin, and it reveals itself as the character. And then I thought, well, okay, I'm onto something here, because that's something you couldn't do with a normal coin. But the problem is, people would just think that somehow I forced it on them if I can't show that coin freely. So my next thought was, well, maybe I can do some sort of paddle move, and I can show it as normal on both sides and then have it printed their hand. And I was like, well, the problem with that is it can't be examined. And I'd really like to have something like this examined, because they're going to want to look at it, and it can't be examined beforehand. And that made me realize, well, maybe I can do some sort of switch. So I can take the regular coin and then I can switch it for one of the other coins. And then I've got the revelation in their hand. And then I was thinking, right, okay, I'm onto something there, but that's a very quick routine. It needs something else. And that made me think, well, hang on a second, I've got coins with more than one character on it. So maybe what I can do is I can take the coin, change it to one character, and then change it to another character. And I was like, okay, that's really cool, but how am I going to force the characters? And then immediately I was thinking of all the different ways I could use to force a Harry Potter character. And I went down the route of Sven pads, and I went down the route of all these different things. And I eventually settled on using digital force pack, because it's so organic using digital force pack. But then I realized I needed two characters. And I didn't really want to use digital force pack to force two characters. So I needed something else. And that's when I went on Amazon and I found these playing cards, Harry Potter playing cards, which I bought from Amazon. And I was like, okay, well, maybe I can have this force the second prediction. And that made me think, well, what happens if instead of actually treating it as two changes, how about I act like I've made a mistake and then I fix the mistake with the second change? And this whole process took about two weeks to get to the point where I was happy with it, because when I had the construction of the routine in mind, which took about a week to go from, look, I've got all these wonderful shiny coins, this is what I want to do with it, I then had to work out the different moves to make all of this happen. So how am I going to switch this coin for this coin, for example? And that's when I realized that David Roth has a beautiful coin switch here, where he has a coin, and when he says squeeze it, it switches the coin. And I was like, well, that would be perfect, because he normally uses it in a copper silver transposition, but the problem with that is it leaves a dirty coin in the spectator's hand that they can't examine. But with this, if I switch this coin in, they could examine it and turn it over themselves. Brilliant. But then how do I switch that one in? Okay, I could switch it in using a shuttle pass. But then how do I ditch that coin? Well, if I'm going from the phone to the pack of cards, I can put the phone away and I can ditch the coin when I put the phone away. And all of this stuff came together over the course of about a 2 or 3 week period. And then we got to a point where I actually had a routine that I was happy with. And once I had the routine I was happy with, I could start scripting it. And I've done Q&As on scripting before, and I've talked about scripting before, but the whole idea is I had bullet points of what I wanted to do during the scripting process, different things that I wanted to hit at different points. And then what I did is I just practiced doing it over and over again. And eventually I recorded myself, watched it, thought it was rubbish, did it again and again and again until I was happy with it. And then that's when we went to a routine called The Chosen One, which is a routine that I put on a recent Magic Live about 2 weeks ago. And I actually said this is a new routine that I was actually creating. So what I want to do, now I've gone through the process of buying these coins and the creative process of actually creating this routine, let's have a look at that routine now, and you can see how all of that came together. Look at this, have a look at this. This is all about Harry Potter. So I've got a few things here. We've got a purse, which I'll get back to in a minute, and I've got a pack of cards. I got these off of Amazon. These are Harry Potter playing cards. And they're really cool because each one of them has got a different Harry Potter character on them. There's like 52 cards, 54 with the Joker.
If you find the King of Hearts, you'll have Harry on.
Well, there you go. Because Ryland's got one of these packs of cards as well. But we're going to pick one at random. So, Ry, I'm going to... actually, I'll do this with you, Thea, because you're going to help me in something else in a second, Ryland. Thea, I'm going to give these cards a shuffle. And then I'm just going to cut through the cards. I'm going to cut packets of cards onto the table like this. As I do, anytime you want to, just say stop.
Stop.
There?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to put that there. Don't look at it just now. But we're going to put that there. We're going to get back to it in a bit, okay? That card is going to be our big finish. So we're going to leave that right there. Now, I also have this purse, and inside this purse, let me show you what's inside there. There's actually a Harry Potter coin. Now, have a look at this, because this is really cool. On the one side, I'll hold it so the camera can see it. On the one side, you've got the Harry Potter logo. And then on the other side, you've actually got a picture of Hogwarts that's kind of been sort of engraved into the coin. It's really cool, really cool. Now, Ryan, this is what we're going to do. I don't want you to think I'm using sleight of hand at all. So put the coin, Harry Potter logo pointing up onto my finger. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Now, I do not want to go near that coin. So what I want you to do is make a fist around it like that. So come from above, make a fist and keep your hand there so that you're in view of the camera. Okay? Now, here's what we can do. You just keep squeezing that. Now, I also have my phone. Here it is. I have my phone. And on my phone, I have a list of 100 Harry Potter characters. I went through, like, Wikipedia, and I got all of the really unknown Harry Potter characters, and I've got 100. You're going to pick one at random, right? Give me a number between 1 and 100. Whatever number it is, we're going to use that Harry Potter character.
20.
Are you sure? Do you want to change your mind, or are you happy with 20? I don't want you saying later
50.
on... Oh, you do want to change your mind?
Yeah, 50.
Do you want to change it again?
No.
You want 50?
Yeah, 50.
Because later on, you're going to go, what would have happened if I changed my mind? You want 50?
Yeah.
Okay, cool, that's fine. Have a look at this. Make sure I'm not cheating. There's the notes page. I'll hold it upside down. Now, can you see at the top, you've got 100, you've got Harry Potter characters, yeah? Yeah. And you said 50. So if we go down to 50, what do we have on 50? Dobby, the house elf. Oh, Dobby. You remember Dobby?
Yeah.
Dobby's at number 50. Now, if you'd stuck with 20, you would have got...
It should say Dobby, but it says Donny. You've spelled it wrong.
Donny, there you go. It says Elberthorpe Dumbledore. So it should say Dobby, but it is Dobby. You've ended up on Dobby, is that right?
Yeah.
Perfect. You had to pick the only one that had a spelling error. Thanks very much for that, right? I was up all night writing this list. So it was Dobby. Now, squeeze tightly. You were holding that coin from the very beginning, weren't you?
Yeah.
From the very, very beginning, you were holding that coin. And you made a fist around it, right?
Yeah.
And you could have picked anyone, and you picked Dobby. Turn your hand over and open up your hand. Show everyone what's on there now. Because where there was a picture of the castle, it's now changed to Dobby, the house elf. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Isn't that weird? Yeah. Like, you could have thought of anybody. You could have changed your mind and gone for somebody else, but you ended up with Dobby. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
And here's the thing, Thea, from the very beginning, you picked a card.
Okay.
And that card's been there, and I said that all of the cards had different characters on them.
Yeah.
If I told you that had Dobby the house elf on it as well, and you picked the card that matched the coin and the character that Ryland picked, would that be awesome?
Yeah.
Check it out. We have Hermione Granger. Well, she looks a little bit like Dobby. She's, okay, she looks nothing like Dobby. You picked Hermione. You ruined the trick, Thea. You were supposed to pick Dobby. It's okay, I can fix this. Watch the coin. If I snap my fingers, I can change that Dobby into Hermione Granger right there. And that is why I got kicked out of Hogwarts, to be perfectly honest. So that was the routine, and you can see all of the different points that I was trying to hit in there. So, you know, you couldn't do that trick with anything else other than these Harry Potter coins. You need coins like this in order to do that trick. And the hook line, when I'm creating magic, I think about presentation more than anything else. How can I present this trick for it to make sense? What's the hook line that I'm using to hook the people's attention right at the very beginning? How do I keep their attention? What beats am I trying to hit? Where are the moves going to happen? How am I going to involve the misdirection in there? How can I bring everyone into it? And it ended up with that routine. But the creative process didn't stop there for me with these coins, because I was like, okay, right, I've got that. Where else can I go now? What else can I do with this now? And then I created another routine. And the other routine I created, let's talk about that for a minute. I was thinking about other plots that I could use with this. Because at this point now, I had my Harry Potter playing cards and I had all my coins. I was like, well, it's such a shame that I've got all of these coins and I've only done one routine with it. What else can I do with this? And I didn't want to go down the route of using digital force bag again because, let's say I'm using these at the same gig. I don't want to be going down that route. So what else can I do with it? And I was like, well, that technically only uses one coin. What if I use multiple coins? And then two words hit me. I'll tell you exactly when it happened. I was watching on YouTube, Penn and Teller Fool Us, and I was watching Michael Rubenstein do his amazing Twilight Zone presentation for Wildcoin, where he talks about King Midas and the coins turn from gold into silver, from copper into gold, and then they change back again. I was like, hey, if I could use this for Wildcoin, that would be great. So that's when I went down the route of coming up with an idea of Wildcoin. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to have the end display. I didn't want to, because the problem with the way that Michael does it and the way that David Roth originally did it is the coins change one at a time and then they change back. And I wanted to display at the end. I wanted to have all of the coins out on the table. I wanted to have like 3 coins out on the table with the 3 main characters from Harry Potter. I was like, okay, so how am I going to get to there? Well, first of all, what's the point of changing these coins? Presentationally, how does that make sense? And I was like, well, okay, how about if I use the playing cards and 3 people pick cards and then I'm using coins to change them into the cards that the people have picked. I was like, oh, that's a really good idea because I'll have the cards on the table, I have the coins on the table. I was like, but that's going to need 6 coins because I'm going to need the 3 coins that I'm changing in and I'm going to need the 3 regular coins to change out. How am I going to do that? How's that going to be possible? And that's when I had the idea of just using 1 coin. I was like, well, how can I use 1 coin? And then I had, this is a move that I developed years and years and years ago. The move that I use in the routine, which you'll see in a minute, is a move I developed years and years and years ago, which is a way of holding out multiple coins in finger palm, taking 1 coin, changing that coin, and then being in a situation where I can pull out apparently a second coin, but it's the same coin. I said, that's really good, but I don't want to keep going into my pocket. And that's when I had the idea of incorporating the purse frame. And I can take the coin out, the same coin out the purse frame each time before I do the change. And presentationally, that fit with Harry Potter. Because one of the things that people think about when they think about Harry Potter, they think about the invisibility cloak. I was like, well, I can bring this in and I can say, well, Harry's got an invisibility cloak. I've got an invisibility purse. It's the same concept. I keep coins in there. And then I can go into a situation where I'm changing the coins into the characters. So that's where that came. And then the problem, when you're creating magic, you then start hitting roadblocks all the time. So I got to the point where I was happy with the coin changing sequence. But then I was like, well, okay, I'm holding 3 coins out in finger palm. I'm holding 1 coin out in finger palm in the left hand. How am I meant to do any sort of card force in order to force the cards? So that's when I realized I don't need the purse out at the beginning, which means I can have this hand free. I can hold the 3 coins out at the beginning and I can use 1 hand to do the force. And I was like, well, what force can I do in 1 hand? And that's when I went down of doing Balducci cut deeper force, because that's something where I can just hold the deck and the spectator can cut the cards and I can still spread the cards with 3 coins held out in finger palm. And that's how I get to my 3 selections. Brilliant. And then it all came together and I did the same thing from a scripting point of view. I wrote down the stuff I wanted to hit. I wrote down exactly where I wanted it to be. And there was a moment missing because it was a bit too samey. By the time that I'd done the first coin and the second coin, they knew what was going to happen with the third coin. And I wanted to put something in there that made it a little bit more suspenseful, which is where I incorporated the Dobby coin, because what I kind of went down the route of there is the first coin hits, the second coin hits, and from a spectator's point of view, the first coin is like, wow, then they're watching really closely, and the second coin's wow. So the third coin, they're expecting that one to change, and then you've got that magician in trouble scenario because you turn the third coin over and it's Dobby. I say, oh my gosh, that doesn't work. That he's made a mistake. And that's when I magically changed that Dobby coin into the Hermione coin for the final coin. And I just used a Divern and Spellbound move. And then it all came together, and again I practiced, shot it, didn't like it, shot it, didn't like it, and got to a point where I had a wild coin that I was really happy with, that fit into the Harry Potter narrative. It made sense. I was able to do the card force at the beginning, and then I was able to pick up the extra coin using, because I was, everything has to make sense. When you're creating a routine, you can't just go in your pocket for no reason. It all made sense. I'm going to go in my pocket to get the purse. That's going to allow me to produce the coin. Then I can go into the coin changing sequence. It all makes sense. When I put everything away at the end, I've ditched the coins. It all made sense. And that's when this second routine was created. And I'll show you that now, so you can see exactly what we've been talking about for this last 5 minutes. Have a look at this. I have a deck of playing cards. Now, these are Harry Potter playing cards. I got them from Amazon. All of the cards on there have different characters from Harry Potter. And we're going to try and do something, Ryland. What I would like you to do, please, is cut off a small packet of cards, like maybe about 10 or 15 cards. It's up to you where exactly. Turn them face up and put them back on top of the pack face up. Now, what I want you to do now is cut deeper, cut more cards than you cut to before. Turn them face up, put them back on top of the pack. Would you agree that that is a random way to get to a face down card? No one can know what that face down card is. Let's eliminate, I don't want you to look at it. Let's eliminate all these cards. We'll do it again. Cut a small packet of cards off, turn them face up, put them back on top of the pack. Very good. Now cut deeper, cut more cards than you cut to before. Turn them face up, put them back on top of the pack. Very good. Good. Oh, Severus Snape. And we'll go through for the first face down card, which is this one. Again, no one can know what that is. I'll eliminate those, and we'll do it one last time. Cut off a small packet of cards, turn them face up, put them back on top of the pack, and then cut deeper, my buddy. Cut more cards than you cut to before, turn them face up, put them back on top of the pack. Lovely. Oh, Rubius Hagrid, keeper of keys at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. And there's your face down card there. So we've got a whole bunch. We've got 3 face down cards. There's literally 54 cards in there. And we've got 3 face down cards here. Now I'm going to try and work out what those 3 cards are using some actual Harry Potter magic. You see, what I have in my pocket is I have an invisible purse. Now this works the same way as Harry's invisibility cloak. If you've seen the films or read the books, you know he's got an invisibility cloak, and when he wears it, it becomes invisible. Well, this purse works the same way. The bag is invisible, which means that anything inside the bag is invisible until I take it out. Let me show you what I mean. If I just reach in, I can take out what's in there, and what's in there is a little Harry Potter coin. Look, it's an actual coin. On the one side, check this out, on the one side it's got the Harry Potter logo, and on the other side it's got Hogwarts. So here's how we're going to use this little coin to work out what that card is. You see, the first card, all I have to do is touch it with my fingers, and then I rub the coin. And as I rub the coin, what happens is it turns into Harry Potter. Check that out. The actual coin has become printed with Harry Potter, which can only mean one thing. This is Harry Potter. Now that's pretty cool, but I'm going to do that again. Luckily, I have more than one of those coins in the invisible coin purse. If I reach in, I can take out a second one. I do have more than one. I have 3 in there in total. And this one's exactly the same. It's got the castle on one side. It's got the Harry Potter logo on the other side. I'll hold it right here. And to work out what that card is, all I have to do is touch it. And then I just rub the coin, and hopefully, yeah, check it out. It changes into Ron. There's Ron Weasley. And that means that over here, we have Ron. How cool is that? One last time. Luckily, I've got one of these coins in my invisible coin purse. There you go, we won't need that anymore. And again, this works exactly the same way. You've got a castle on one side, you've got the Harry Potter logo on the other side. All I have to do is touch the card, and then I just rub, and this one turns into Dobby the House Elf, which means that this card over here has to be Dobby the Hermione Granger. There's a technical term in magic for that. It's called a mistake.
But they're all pink and blue,
Yeah,
which
that's
means
the
surely
problem.
that's wrong.
You know what? I can fix this. I can fix this. Let me see if I can fix it. I know what I'll do. What I'll do is I'll rub it like this. I'll rub the logo like this. I'll rub that, and blow. And when I do, it turns into Hermione Granger. Look at that. And there's the 3 coins. Hermione, Harry, and Ron, matching the 3 cards. And that's magic. So you can see from that routine, it's a completely different routine to the first one, but even though it's completely different, it still follows the same narrative and the same narrative of having the Harry Potter coins and bringing everything into the Harry Potter universe. Now, I have since created another 3 routines. I don't want to make this video too long, but I've since created another 3 routines, and I went down the same concept. So after I created this second one, the wild coin, I then said, well, what else can I do with the coins? What else can I do? Where else can I take this plot? And the key thing that I want you to take from this is, and if I had to sum up all the points I'm trying to make, number 1, you have to be passionate about the thing that you're creating. You have to be, like, I love Harry Potter. I love coin magic. You have to be passionate. If you're just trying to create something for creating its sake, then it's never going to work. So number 1, find something that you're passionate about. Number 2, be prepared to draw inspiration from anywhere. Like I say, in this case, I was just on Facebook and I saw an ad and I was like, oh my gosh, this is brilliant. Be prepared to draw inspiration from absolutely anywhere. Number 3, have a seriously big knowledge base, because the more knowledge you have about moves and sleights and principles, in reality, the easier it's going to be to actually create routines. Number 4, be patient. I see people trying to create stuff and churn it out, and they're trying to be the next Jay Sankey. It takes time. If you want to have a really good routine at the end of it, it takes time. And I guarantee you, these routines that I've just shown for you, they will change over the course of the next few weeks and over the course of the next few months. As I perform them, they'll change and they'll adapt them until a point that they're brilliant and they're perfect. So number 4, practice. And number 5, understand that your first thing that you're happy with probably isn't going to be your final version of the routine, because you're always going to be improving it. It's why we've got this trick version 2, this trick version 3, because things always improve over time. So there you go. I tried to answer the question as well as I could. I wanted to make a whole video on it, but that's creativity. In a nutshell, the key thing that you need to remember is that you just need to keep going. The most important thing is never give up. It's very, very easy to get to a point where you hit a mental block and you can't go any further and you don't think that you can go any further. And it's very easy to take the whole project and put it in the bin, put it in the trash, get rid of it. Don't give up. Keep going, keep going, keep going, and have that goal in mind. Have that vision of what you want that final trick to look like, and keep moving towards that vision, and don't give up. Guys, I hope you enjoyed that. Please subscribe to the channel. We go live every single day. So if you want to see more videos, subscribe to the channel. I'll be back tomorrow with a magic rant. I'll catch you tomorrow. My name's Craig from Slightly Unusual Magic TV.